Hey,
Hey, everybody.
good afternoon. Happy Friday. Happy all the things, everyone. Welcome to MVP Office Hours. My name is Dale Ziegler. By day, I am a business analyst with Seven Summits, and I'm based here in Kansas City. By other parts of the day, I help run MVP Office Hours. And along with me is Joy. Would you say hi, Joy?
Hi, Joy. Oh, wait, that's me. Hi, everybody.
Awesome. Joy is out of Chicago, and our third partner in crime, Squire Kirshner, is on some well-deserved PTO today. His son has a college visit, so definitely want to take advantage of those. So we're running as a two-person organization here today. We miss Squire. We love Squire. We can't wait to have him back on the next call. But he's doing all the good things, family first. So.
Sure.
Today is, in fact, November 6th, 2020, as the PowerPoint slide would indicate. Our master Twitter handle is at MVP Office Hours, and then the three of our individual handles are there. And then MVPOfficeHours.info is our site for all things office hours, whether it's here in the US or EMEA or Portuguese, which we will get to here in a minute. On the right is links to webinars, local user groups, upcoming events. Most, if not all of them, are still virtual. And if you don't know why they're virtual, I really want to live in your world of bliss, because those of us who know, it's not awesome. Anyway, anything Salesforce event is there. The webinar site right there in the upper right is pretty much always up to date, and it's not just upcoming webinars, it's also links to past webinars that have been recorded. So if you missed any of the release readiness, or if there was a specific piece of functionality that someone demoed, it goes back several months, if not years. It's multi-language, several languages. Any language that it's been recorded in, you can find it there. So definitely keep your eyes on that. The upcoming Dreamin' events, those are community-led events. Those, just like the Salesforce events like Dreamforce, which is sometime.
Wasn't that supposed to be this week?
No, it was supposed to be next week, because
Okay, that's right.
they very intelligently waited till after election day in a city like San Francisco. Now the virtual, I don't know when it kicks off. I don't know when it ends. It sounds like it's about a 3-month affair, but anyway. All the events.
There's rooms at the Marquee, though, right? That was.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, you can get a really good deal at the Marriott Marquis for the first time ever. Any events, whether they be Salesforce-led, community-led, virtual, once we get back into in person, the /EN community events is pretty much always updated. And then for local groups, whether it's your local user group, a developer group, if you're a nonprofit, your marketer, or when we get to travel again, if you're passing through town and there's a meeting, or now in the virtual space. I know here in Kansas City, I know Chicago, I know Des Moines, I know the coasts. We're welcoming everybody in, because it's all good content sharing. Go ahead and check out those links in the lower right to get signed up for, at minimum, your local user group, but then any others that you're interested in following and joining. All good content from a community standpoint. Joy, you want to flip to the next one, please? So global, I mentioned that we have EMEA. We also have a Portuguese call. I do not see Carlos on here to do it properly justice, but the Portuguese call is a really, really good one that you don't need to know any Portuguese for. Carlos is based in Tampa. He, I believe, is Brazilian by birth, and so he uses that as an opportunity to reach out to our friends in Brazil and Portugal and any other Portuguese-speaking countries. He does all the translating. So people will ask the questions in Portuguese, he'll translate back. All you have to know is the answer, and he'll translate it right back. So it's a great way to give back. That is on the last Thursday of every month, along with the EMEA call. If you're a late riser or an early riser, or however the time zones work, I still don't understand whatever. It's 106 where I live. That's about all I care about. You can jump on those as well. All that information is available at mvpofficehours.info, or you can follow their respective Twitter handles as well.
Right.
So what are we doing here? Well, we're here on the first and third Friday of the month. We are back on normal cadence with as many many hiccups as we created in October and September. We are back on normal cadence. So today being the 6th, our next call will be on the 20th to get you, filled up with good stuff before you fill up on turkey and potatoes and all the good things the following week. Same time, 1 p.m. Central, 2 Eastern, 11 Pacific. And again, if you like doing time zone math, well, there you go. There's a good opportunity for you. The registration is always static at bit.ly/MVPOHUS. The next meeting's link will open up as soon as we close this one because it's recurring. If you want to go back to past recordings, you can follow us either on the Success Community on Twitter or our YouTube channel. And we have all 184 past recordings, with the exception of episode 1, the elusive lost episode. All the recordings are out there. And then if you're sharing, if you're posting, if you're searching, you can look for us with any of those hashtags. So the call itself, we got to let Stu in.
Oh, goodness. Yeah.
The call itself. So everyone is welcome to participate. You don't have to be an MVP to answer the question. MVPs will often ask the questions. You don't even have to speak up. We always get people on the calls that are just here to listen, and that is perfectly fine. This is all about knowledge sharing, idea sharing, issue questions. I mean, if you're facing an issue right now, this is the best place to start because we could probably get you an answer immediately and in real time. And if we can't, more often than not, we're able to schedule some offline time to figure out, okay, we're going to solve your problem somehow, some way. So don't be afraid to speak up. Don't be afraid to stay quiet if you just want to listen. We just ask that if you're not speaking, mute yourself. We all know Zoom etiquette at this point. So just stay muted until you need to unmute. If you want to ask a question, you can put it in the chat. You can use the raise hand function in Zoom, or if there's dead air, just unmute and say something. That works as well. Just announce yourself so that we know who you are. Use the chat to share links. We will do that as well as we go research stuff. And you can share your screen. The only stipulation is please have production be your absolute last resort. Show us a sandbox, show us a dev org, whatever. But because we are recording, and by the way, if you're not okay with being recorded, please drop now and catch the recording later. But because we're recording, the last thing we want to do is show your production data, or if you're a consultant, showing your client's production data, whatever. That's our last possible resort. Show us some fake data. But we can do screen sharing. All right, who from the MVP group do we have besides Joy and myself?
Hi, it's Gina.
Hi, Gina.
Hey, this is Barb.
Hey, Barb.
Hi, Barb.
Hey, it's Eric.
Hello.
Eric, how you doing? Stu, got you. Who else?
I like it.
Hi, I'm Stu.
So we got a good group of MVPs in here, but like I said, be prepared for them to ask the questions as well, because we're all doing Salesforce together. We're all coming across first-time issues. We're all doing all the things. So the only thing that separates us as MVPs is that we have the Zoom line to facilitate the call and the conversation. Otherwise, we're here with you.
All right. So
Joy, since you've done a better job at looking at the offline posts than I have, I'll let you take this one away.
Yeah, that's fine. So Zingling am I pronouncing that right?
Yeah, you're right. Thank you.
Okay. Do you want to, I can read your post, but I think you might have to do a better job of explaining it. So if you,
Yeah,
floor is
I can
yours.
go ahead. Yeah. Okay. So we have we using in Salesforce, and then we have a partner that doing the backend service for us, also using Salesforce. They are doing the technical support on behalf of us. So all the tech support tickets are logged as a case in their environment. So, and we want to, like our internal user, we want to relay those case information into our account, and also can view those information from our org without the need to log into the partners in Salesforce org. So, and I talked to our Salesforce, I think the support solution engineer, something like that, like go with the sales. And he recommends me to look into the Salesforce to Salesforce, the org to org option. That's the native classic feature, I think. So I did that, but I think like there's some limitation there. I don't think that works well for me. First, it is when I do that sharing, publishing and subscribing thing, and then the case being actually created in our org, like a new case number being generated. And the second thing it is the email, like those case feed, like those activity, the case comment, the email, and then the file attachment are not being to be shared to us. So, but we are very much interested in those activity associated with the case. So I want to know what other option available for me to be able to get those linked together. We just need the view permission. We don't need the right permission, but we want to see whatever the case in the partners org in our own org. So.
All right. So to paraphrase this a little bit, you're having cases created. Your company is sending emails to create cases in your other.
No, let me explain it again. So we have like our partner organization. They do the tech support, like they provide technical support on behalf of us. So their staff will work on their Salesforce environment to create cases there.
Okay.
But we have our own Salesforce to manage our accounts, our clients. So, but those tech support are for our clients. So, but the ticket in our tech support partner organization, like the Salesforce side, not in our Salesforce side. We want those cases being like a map over to our Salesforce and link it to our accounts pages so that our user can see what kind of ticket being created for this customer and what is the status of the ticket, what kind of communication has been around these cases. So this kind of thing. So is that clear?
As mud, yes. So you have a partner org that's supporting your tech tickets. That's also related to accounts that are in your org.
Yes, they maintain a copy of our accounts there, but separate, they're totally separate, like environment.
And so what you're looking for is visibility into those cases within your own org.
Yes. And also the case feeds, like the email, file attachment, comments as well.
All right. Does anyone on the call have experience with a Salesforce to Salesforce for cases? I'm looking for hands, I'm looking for smiles, I'm looking for nods, and I'm getting
I set it up
none.
myself and then I test it out, but the outcome is not ideal. Like I said, when I set it up using the trial version, I can get those case detail being published to me and as a subscriber, that's not a problem. The only drawback, it is a complete new case being created in our environment. So like a different case number. That's one drawback. Another drawback, it is the activities, the feed of the case are not able to brought over. So that's kind of like I feel like Salesforce org to org, that option is not the good one. So.
What do you got there, Dale?
Well, let's see. I mean, Salesforce to Salesforce at its core isn't as easy as it should sound like it should be. Like, I think that's why, honestly, not a lot of people have worked with it. I guess before we get into cases specifically, does anybody have any experience with Salesforce to Salesforce?
We've set it up at our organization, but we've had to do some coding and some triggers to pass objects down to the other org that they subscribe to ours. We publish, they subscribe, but we don't do feeds and cases. So you're going to lack some of that information, I think, because it's basically in Salesforce to Salesforce, we're subscribing to fields on an object. And that's what we can get. Have you considered external objects and setting up an external object in your org for cases that actually pulls from the other org into yours? I don't know if that will bring in the feed and all the other information or not, but
That's a good suggestion though. That's what I think like set up as an external object may probably require the Salesforce Connect license, but we are also evaluating the Omnada tool because we have Snowflake. So there's a Omnada Salesforce to Snowflake. So I'm thinking, so if possible, if there's no like a good tool there, I'm thinking, so I would bring the case, like the case object details into Snowflake, and then I will bring the case comment, that one also as an object. But I just don't know the email where those stored in Salesforce as like feed items or which table I need to grab. So if I'm able to know what like those information stored in which table, which object in Salesforce, I probably can put them and set up as external object in Salesforce and remap the relationship. I don't know how the relationship will go as external object. You see what I'm saying? So I think like that's kind of the challenging.
so do you open cases in the other org by sending an email?
And we don't, I mean, our customer will call them or maybe send an email to them, and then they create a case from their environment. Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know that I know an answer to that. The external object does require the Salesforce Connect, and I don't know if it comes along with the alternate or related information such as the feed.
Yeah, and also set up as external object, like even I don't know where those feeds are stored. I think it's in the feeds item probably. There may be multiple tables associated with it, but after I put them pull over, set up external objects, I'm not sure. I still need to map out the relationship there, like the case and the feed relationship, or automatically being able to map it for me. That's also I don't know. So. Because eventually we want to see, okay, this case one being bring over associated with account one, and then those emails should also tie back to that case nicely. You see what I'm saying? So I don't know like what tool can allow me to do that nicely and easily.
Nice and neat.
Yes.
Do it all for you. Press the button and it all comes in, right?
Yeah, something tidy. Wouldn't that be great?
So Jeff, you posted in the chat that you've done Salesforce to Salesforce before on accounts. I mean, obviously accounts and cases are different, but they're both standard objects. I mean, were there any subtle nuances required due to it being a standard object versus a custom object that maybe could help point her in the right direction?
Yeah, there definitely was a lot of challenges doing it. And I found out if you stayed in just their little box, boy, it worked pretty good. But once you try to do just a little bit more, meaning, oh, okay, I want to see a related list of contacts or something like that, or in this case, feed items or emails, boy, that's when I had to write code in order to populate that. And eventually I wound up populating it. Basically what I did is I put triggers on the account, and from that trigger, I would populate stuff that I needed to see because I couldn't get it from the other stuff. And then also you questioned about feed items or how to get the feed. You know, there's an object called feed items, and I was trying to look up or feed item, F-E-E-D-I-T-M. That's a standard object that you can do stuff with. You can query and write triggers on it and stuff like that. And I was looking for the one for email, but I don't remember that right now. And I might find that a little bit later on. So
just email message.
Email message. Yeah, yep, that's it. So those are two objects. Yeah, you can read the emails, but then, you'd be writing stuff in org2 to basically post that stuff somewhere on your case, or, some related list to your case.
Okay. And also like our partner Salesforce is still in Classic and we are in Lightning. So I am thinking like the case common will be stored in a case common object, right? And then I don't know, is that case common still in Lightning version or not?
Yeah, when you go to Lightning, you lose that case comment object, and well, I don't know if you lose it, but everything goes to feed item, and there's a
Or
couple.
go to feed item.
Yeah.
So like if I get the data, like if they in our partner, they are in Classic, so the case common is in the case common object. So if I bring it over, I have no way to map it to case common in our Lightning R, right?
Right.
Is that correct? Okay,
Right.
that's another one. So.
You definitely would have to be doing something custom to get it.
Thought we had case comments in Lightning now.
I
It could
thought
be-
case comment was getting retired.
I thought it was only in Classic.
Oh
be
man.
wrong. I could be wrong.
Yeah,
could be
you'd have to
wrong.
double check, I think.
I think I saw it say retire. So.
Oh,
yeah.
okay. Yeah, I don't remember.
But,
Do you
I don't
think
know.
this is going? Do you think this is going to expand, or is it going to stay just with this case interface and trying to understand the cases from the org2?
We right now, I think like you said, if we just work for only a single object, it's not a problem. I think it's only one challenge. It is like they have to manually share, but definitely we can write some trigger or process to share automatically. That's not a problem. But I think it's just like the related object. Right now, I think that's the only business case that we have, and we just want to interested, like see what kind of thing going on with our customer, our account, so that our sales team can take action. So if it's something getting severe, so.
Okay, I'll toss out 3 ideas, and then everybody else can jump in with maybe ideas. None of these are really, really good, but they're just thoughts. Let's say on org2, you want to keep track of your emails, and maybe there's not typically a lot. If you're dealing with 40 or 50 emails that happen on a case, this kind of breaks down. But you could do some sort of process builder or a flow or code that would basically, every time you do an activity or a case comment, write that to a long variable character field on the case record. And then you would have that data that you could view in org1. So that's one idea where you could kind of do stuff. Another thing that ran through my mind is, I don't know how much developer work you have, but you could write APIs in org2 that basically get past the account ID, and it returns in either a formatted object or something that's readable on org1, all the stuff for that case and the related stuff. You could package that up in a JSON, you could consume it and display it in a special, you could either do it in a Lightning Web Component or a Visualforce page or something like that. So that was the other thing that happened. And then I don't know if anybody knows of packages that do this. I don't know if we need to be searching on the App Exchange if somebody's done this type of thing before.
I would probably lean towards your second option there if you have an API developer to consume the information. And I'm going to probably assume that number 3 is out the door, because if it's on the App Exchange, and I know this is being recorded, but it's never stopped me before. If that's costing Salesforce money for somebody to go to an App Exchange package, that's not going to fly. I don't think that exists, unfortunately.
Okay, I think like probably sounds like the API call, like the REST is kind of probably the best approach.
Yeah.
Yeah,
feel
we're
like I'll-
curious to see how this shakes out. So keep us updated.
Yeah.
I will.
This is a,
Thank
this is a
you.
good one. This is a really good one.
All right, thank you.
What I'm also going to do is take your post, the link to it, and we'll put it in the deck when we share it out, so that if anybody consumes this later and is able to click in and give you guidance through the community group, at least that'll help move it forward.
For sure, for sure. All right, I think the next question we have is from Brandon, around something like Flow or Process Builder to act on behalf of a user to generate an envelope in DocuSign.
Yes.
Brandon.
Yep. Can you hear me?
Yep.
So here's the use case. So we have the DocuSign integration, a rep or whatever, they can click on an opportunity to generate the DocuSign, pull in a file or whatever. So the trick though that we have is this, is that we have via DocuSign our payment forms. So a customer is providing us, because of PII, they're providing us data via a DocuSign form. And if it's generated from the rep, the rep would have access to that PII, credit card number, banking info, whatever. So we want to generate it from our finance person who's a user in Salesforce and everything. However, I don't know the rules around using Process Builder or Flow to essentially act as that person to initiate or click a button, if that makes sense. So does that sound plausible? Has anybody done that before?
I've done a DocuSign integration and a button, and I think in the button you can put the originator, but I'm not sure. So I'll let somebody else talk.
Well, and I talked with DocuSign about this, and they were like, yeah, you might have to use the API. And the thing is that if our finance person is signed in and they click the button and send it, it will come from them. I just need to know if, like, my big trick is, can I, using the Salesforce platform, basically pretend or proxy like I'm that person? Does that make sense? I mean, I'm sure you can do it in all sorts of other cases of partners stuff. And if there's no answer there, I get it. Cause I just haven't dug into it really deep, but I figured if I'm going to spend 4 hours in it, I might as well spend 5 minutes here.
I've not touched DocuSign in a long time.
Well, how about just, using the idea of just triggering an action with a third party, maybe not an action, but because I think I can write the DocuSign thing to say, do this envelope. I just want to, as I'm pretending I'm logged in as that other user, or the trigger triggering as that other user, cause an action to happen. And the reason I say that is I know you can log in as another user. We have that turned on. So as an admin, I can do that. But I know that if I'm not technically authorized as that user, that I may not be able to do everything, if that makes sense.
So, theoretically, Process Builder runs in system context. So you wouldn't have to be a specific user. It's going to run as the system, and you can then invoke Apex and other things. If you can wedge the call to DocuSign in an Apex class, theoretically, you wouldn't have to be the user to wake up the Process Builder. And then if you get it into an Apex class, the Process Builder fires that Apex class and does its thing. Theoretically. And
theoretically that would be me coding a trigger and stuff like that, I'm assuming too. And I'm trying to stay out of the code part of it.
Right.
But I think you don't need to log in as the user. I think what you need to do is say that this finance person is the sender, not the AE who's triggering the process.
The owner record.
Right.
Right.
So it seems possible is what you're saying.
Possibly. I'm trying to play around right now, see if I can.
I will say, given DocuSign's very friendly relationship with Salesforce, I would be shocked if this is not possible. Surely they've ironed out the kinks on it. It's just how.
Yeah. And so what I think, I'm going to end up writing a button that basically would invoke Process Builder or Flow or whatever to then act on behalf of the finance person, because otherwise it would look like it's coming from the sales rep. So
have you tried in the Salesforce Ohana Slack channel? There's a channel specific to DocuSign and Conga.
No, but of course it's another resource I'm not as familiar with. So I love that. So
do you know about the Salesforce Ohana Slack channel? There is
so if somebody has a link to that, that would be great.
Okay.
Yeah, we'll get it for you.
Okay. I'll also mention, about the
Minnesota user group.
Yes.
There is a fuck, if I could speak on a Friday, this would help a lot.
Hi, Stu. How are you?
There is a
Yes.
there is a member of the Minnesota user group that that knows DocuSign very well. So I could also hook you up there with some connections. So
Yeah, part of it's for me is just I think just a good experience to go in and just figure it out if I can do it on my own first. But I'll reach out to you, Stu, if I don't get closure on that. So
I would imagine though, if you're doing it with Flow, you'd be able to reference any user that you want to be able to send your envelope. So
yeah, that's what I think. I think I just have to write a really creative.
is it always a
DocuSign button.
specific? Is it always a specific user that you're sending it as?
Yes,
Or-
which is great, right? I mean, so at least I've eliminated a variable there. So
and it occurs to me, not that these two products are at all similar, but they both have a big reputation in the community, that I've seen Conga being called like the example is this, that at the end of the month, all sales reps need to submit their monthly sales meetings to the CEO, and they happen to do it via Conga, and it fires automatically via some process that happens, and then Conga creates that report, sends it to the CEO, and so it happens via the system, but it's on behalf of each and every sales rep, and then that document gets sent out. So I know that sort of thing happens with other apps. I don't know why it wouldn't happen with DocuSign as well. It's a pretty well established. I'm gonna stop speaking now, Joy. Go ahead and mute me. Thank you.
No, you know what? You're the only one who gets to talk now because this is just fun.
thank you for the Slack link. Thank you for the other link. You guys, I think you guys have given me enough for me to know what I need to do, at least where to start digging. So I do have a second
Springboard.
question, but I will wait for other people in the queue, or I'll just add my question back into the queue for the next thing I have.
So the only other question, there's no one else that's come up in the chat. I had a question come up this week where someone was looking to change this one user so that they could stay in Classic while the rest of the company got forced into Lightning. Now, the suggestion I had for them was like, well, give them a permission set that says remain in Classic. However, this particular person who's asking the question doesn't have access to change profiles or whatever. And the profile actually was checked, stay in Lightning. And so a permission set to remain in Classic doesn't override that. There's some confusion going on with that. And so they now have to go back and request that all the profiles be changed and that the forced them into Lightning be a permission set.
A permission set was not additive, like it's
Right.
supposed to be.
Right. Right. So the remain in Classic, like they can't get it to the via permission set. And so it's just, they're struggling. So
Okay. This may occupy my weekend going to explore this one, but that doesn't make any sense. It's supposed to be additive. What's off in your profile, a permission set allows to be on.
Is it a system permission though that says you can't go back to Classic? Is that what she has set? Lightning only?
We had to set a permission set to force everyone into Lightning.
Right. That's not how it's set.
That's not
It's on
how
the
she did
profile.
it.
It's on the
Yeah.
profile to force everyone into Lightning. And so initially I'm like, oh yeah, permission set to let them remain in Classic. That should work.
No.
No.
I think wouldn't it be the other way around though, to leave the profile everybody's in Classic and then use a permission set to force everyone into Lightning?
That's how
Right.
we did it, but
But-
that's not how she set it up.
Yeah.
She set
Well,
it-
this particular person doesn't have the admin access that she would have liked, and so she's has to go back and fight through the profile changes because the Lightning setting should have been a permission set, not a profile setting.
There's another problem with that, and that is that inside of the Lightning readiness setup thing, there's also other things you can set up saying that on a nightly basis or on a weekly basis that you're giving Salesforce the permission to switch everyone back to Lightning regardless of what that setting is. So then, what it's almost a corn maze.
Yeah.
Sorry, my Midwest background, to figure out which direction to go to put them back into the setting they were supposed to be in.
Right. So what I'm trying to like wrap my head around is like the best practice is to set Lightning up as a permission set. Yes, no. And then if there are exceptions to that, they either do or do not get the Lightning permission set and moving forward with that. But the new orgs are different. So
what is the specific permission though? Isn't it on the profile? Isn't it hide classic?
I
I think it has.
There's one that grants people permission to get into Lightning, which I think is available for everybody now, right?
Yeah, it's
And
it's an archaic permission now. Yeah.
And then there's one that stops you from being able to go back to Classic.
And then there's the org setting that says send everyone to Lightning tomorrow.
Right. Every so often. But can that person not just switch back to Classic if they want to? And I understand the profile's probably not set that way. That might need to be changed, but
the profile, I'm reading through the text exchange, says hide option to switch to Classic has been enabled on the profile. And so while they're adding the permission set to remain in Classic, they don't have the link to go back to Classic.
So what's the specific permission in the permission set?
I'm looking right now, but I think it's hide the button, the switch to Classic, hide option to switch to Salesforce Classic.
So there's the thing. You can't turn anything off with a permission set. It is additive. So you've already done the additive through the profile and you can't revoke it.
Unless you uncheck it on the profile.
Right.
And check it on the permission set, which is what we did. Yeah.
Right. And that's why I feel like all of the Lightning stuff should be permission set based and not profile based.
Right.
As a best practice. And we went back and forth with this it's crazy though, because it's like, how do you?
Which is how it was when it started out, when Lightning rolled out 5 years ago. 5 years, 2 months, and a couple of weeks, because it rolled out the day before my son Charlie was born. So I missed that launch party. I love Charlie. Love you, buddy.
Good reason to miss it.
It was you had to add Lightning because it wasn't ready, and now they're trying to get you off of Lightning. And so whether that was deliberate or not to make it hide, I mean, that's 1 point Salesforce right there. I mean, good on you for forcing it in that way.
Yeah, this is the second org in the last 2 months that I've stumbled on where someone had to have Classic. So
that's where I'm struggling. It's just like maybe you don't want to fight that battle, but why? Why do they have to have Classic? What are they doing in Classic that they can't do in Lightning, or are they just a stick in the mud, or what?
And so that is the underlying question. And the challenge is that the executive team's already approved it. And so it's not a matter of why or why not. It's just a matter of do.
The executive team approved the option to put everybody on permission sets now and change the profile and spend that.
I think you're right, Barb. I think it's a matter of saying, okay, well, I can give this person Classic, but I'm also going to need to update all of the profiles
exactly
so that we can make this accommodation. So I think that's exactly the right tactic. So thank you, everybody.
So there is that hide option to switch to Classic. There's remain in Salesforce Classic. And then I assume that the Lightning ones now that we're in Winter 21 and such, the Lightning experience user and Lightning login, that those are already enabled by default.
Lightning login is totally different.
It's totally different, but Lightning experience user should be enabled for everyone now that they've, because that was done like a couple
releases
ago. There's a lot of if I look at the permission sets, there's a lot of what could be conflicting permissions listed here.
For sure. So I am going to direct my friend to this recording, and she can break her brain over it too and be like, ah. But it's a really good suggestion to go back and revisit the profiles as far as the lightning permissions, and then they should really be permission sets. It's easier to manage, I think. All right, so Brandon, you had a second question.
No, I just had one more thing to add on to that. It does make it incredibly confusing. No, just, and maybe this is more of a Salesforce idea thing, but profiles are, you're able to do this. Permission sets, you're able to do this. Everything has always been, you're able to do this. And it's almost like they engineered it incorrectly to say hide.
Mhm.
That's not additive. You're technically removing. So anyway, I'm gonna get off it.
Why don't you take Mike Troy's question? Because he came in before me and I already have one question answered. So, I mean, I'm just getting gravy at this point. So take Mike's.
All right. So the first comment is Kelly has a beautiful day outside. We love that you're outside, Kelly. And the second part of that question is with Apex, successfully deleted a class from a sandbox. Is there a secret to delete the batch type class? Mike, do you want to expand on that? Are you still on, Mike? Yes, you are.
Yeah, yeah, again, cleaning up the org, it's routine stuff, but I'm an admin, not a developer. So poked around, was able to successfully noodle my way through deleting a class. But if it's a Apex batch, it doesn't want to delete. So, is there a secret?
Yeah, Mike, this is a pretty elusive and a very old problem, and it's not easy to do, but I think you have to deploy the delete to production. And I think you go into the metadata on the class. So you really can't delete the class in the sandbox. So if you did delete it, just recreate it in the sandbox. Mm-hmm. And then in the MDF file, there's an active flag and inactive, and you change it to inactive, and then you save that in your sandbox and you deploy that to your production. Then I don't know if that actually deletes it or if that allows you to delete it after that. But I know it involves another deployment to production.
Like a destructive package to actually remove the component, yeah. Because you can't change those in production for Apex classes.
Right. I may be able to find a link that takes you through that. Some people, the problem is everything I've seen so far, they use like the Ant tool to deploy that. And I never use Ant. And so every time I have to actually delete something, it's like, I can't remember, how to run my calculator. It's hard, but I think it would be worth a little afternoon to try it and make it inactive and deploy it and see if that either makes it go away or allows you to delete it in the production side. Anybody else had experience?
Yeah, it is. It's called a destructive, a destructive, why am I,
Link says destructive change using sales.
Yeah, just a destructive change. And I put a link in the thing.
Yep.
This is why I do, Dale. I'm supposed to be the silent partner that just puts things in the chat. I'm going to, thank you. Have a good.
We love you. Thank you.
We all have those days, it's
we all do.
Dale says, well, it looks like Stu put something in chat. Let's take a look at that. Okay, thanks, Dale.
I'm sharing. I can't share quick enough. And then, hey, it looks like Stu put something in chat.
Yeah. But we love you, Stu. It's great. So that sounds like the destructive changes.
Yep.
That'll get you in the right direction, Mike. Okay, yep. Fantastic. Let's see. We've got another question. Brandon, do you want to let Sarah go ahead, or you want to?
Mine should be pretty quick. Just
okay.
We don't have CPQ on opportunities, and we have certain. Was that a thumbs up? I like that. Yeah, we're staying away from it. But we have certain products that if you're selling this product, we've got another product that has to be included. You also need to have an implementation line item and a training line item. What is the best practice that people have used to require those? For example, today I've used Process Builder that if they add a product, it'll automatically add the other ones associated.
Bundles, yeah.
But how do you, right, so it's a bundle via process, but Is there any other way that people have found, like I've looked at doing roll-ups to say, how many training items do I have on this? And if it's less than 0, throw a thing. Any thoughts there?
All of the above, but yeah, I've used Process Builder to add, like, standard support comes free with any product you buy from us. So we have a Process Builder for the first time they add a part code, it adds that free line item automatically. And we just use Process Builder for it. We're getting ready to embark on a screen flow to mimic CPQ. We actually did a brainstorm session yesterday so that the user would be presented with a screen to add certain products, and then it would go out and know, oh, it's this value, it needs this code, because we have certain part codes we add when the value of the deal is above a certain level, which, you know, for you it's training, for us it's support. So the screen flow would kind of guide them through what products they're going to add, and then it would automatically know, is this over that dollar amount? Okay, add these codes at these prices.
And how do you prevent reps from deleting those and then sending out an order form with that not on it?
Yeah.
You could add a validation rule.
Okay.
You'd have to have some kind of roll-ups on your opportunity.
That's what I figured. So I'm on the right path. So that's
Yeah.
that's good. And you know, one of the things that we're doing is we're storing that data on the product. So I'm like indicating whatever it is, and so that we can find like stuff. I also did that with discounting. So certain products you only discount to a certain level. So I have a percentage discount on things. So all right, sounds like I'm on the good track there too. Appreciate it. And yeah, I mean, the last thing I want to do is move to CPQ.
Our business is screaming from the rafters, we need CPQ. We sell 10 products. We don't really have big budgets. And I'm like, do you realize, like, I'm like, I can't. Thank goodness we have a new CIO, and he sat me down and he goes, tell me about CPQ. I'm like, I know, you're hearing about it, right? He's like, yeah. I'm like, he goes, I don't see why we need it. I'm like, thank you.
All I say is $45 a user, and they go, no, we don't need it.
No, and it's like, you know, we have a NetSuite integration, so those users will have to be licensed. Like, it's crazy. I'm like, we don't need it. We don't have a lot of complexity. We do have a subscription model, but I built out Salesforce to manage it. So I'm trying to do this whole screen flow thing to show them that they don't need CPQ. Trying to get ahead of them.
Yeah, it's a fine line, and a CPQ is going to require someone like an admin who really has their head around CPQ. And I mean, that's going to cost more than the licensing. And if you don't have,
we'll need another admin just for
and it won't be an admin that you hire. You're going to end up hiring a partner, and it's going to cost you. So, like, if you can work around it, train your users to be good citizens, I think you'll be able to manage. Approvals might come into play too, Brandon. Like, you know, once the opportunity has been approved with the products, and I mean, you lock the products down so they can't be changed.
Yeah, we're not even, it's funny. We put approval process in and we've just stopped following that. So, because we have like tightened down on the discounting, and Mike, thanks for the link to the WordPress. I'm going to check that out too. Thank you. What I feel like is I just get positive affirmation that I'm on the right path. So this is great.
All right. So I think we're at 150, but Sarah, you had a question about insufficient rights.
Yeah. I'm not sure we're going to get very far on it, but I figured I'd throw it out there anyway. What's going on is I have a user who owns an opportunity and therefore also owns the payment that's associated with it. And I don't remember if payments are particular to Nonprofit Success Pack or if they're a thing outside of NPSP.
Anybody?
Yeah, I think they're an NPSP thing.
Yeah, they're not it's not a standard thing.
Okay, so I'm not sure who has experience with those or not, but on the payment, it's a child object to opportunity. This user is the owner of the opportunity, but has, when she tries to edit the payment, gets insufficient rights on object ID.
And you so check their profile, right, to make sure they have access to payment. And
what's your org sharing?
It is private for opportunities where therefore the payment would also inherit that. but she's the owner of the opportunity.
So she has
Which-
full rights.
She should have full rights
Does
theoretically.
that payment record look up to another object through one of the relationship tables they have in NPSP?
Yeah,
Into the
it
account
might.
record,
I
or-
think that's probably where this is the issue. Like it's got some weird lookup that I can't figure out which one it is. Like I checked, we have a custom object called transaction batch that she does have access to and can edit. So I'm figuring that's what it is, but I just wanted to double check if that seemed like the right track.
Well, and positive that this other child object is set in CRUD to be recreate.
Yeah. Yeah, she can do other payments just fine. It's actually only on particular. This is why I think it's some weird other object. It's like a particular record type of opportunity.
Does she have access to the record type, all the record
think
types that are
so.
like featured around this opportunity and this payment?
Yeah, I couldn't remember actually, and I just need a quick reminder of like where to check the access to the record types.
Profile.
I think the
Is
profile.
it profile? Okay, cool. I will go look into that because that could very well be the issue.
But if
We
she's
had
the
time.
owner of the opportunity and it's of that record type, I would make an assumption that she has access to that record
True.
type.
Right.
And I'm thinking if it's insufficient rights on something she's trying to do on a child object,
Uh-huh.
thinking something on that child object might roll up to another object, like with
Got
the
it.
look rolling up to that she might not have rights to
Oh.
that particular record. not
So it's the
object.
roll up that's causing the issue.
I'm
That could
thinking
very
that
well be. Yeah. No, that gives me a good idea of where to look. Thank you.
One other
Excellent.
place you may want to look, just make sure it's just not a weird Salesforce like GAC, is
Mm.
every object has its own share object that says these are the these records can be viewed or edited by these users.
Uh-huh.
Check to see if there's a record on that object that says this user can do something to this record. Because if there's a record there on the share object, then I think
Yeah.
you have a different Salesforce problem
Got it.
versus
Would-
with the permissions and whatever.
Would
Yeah.
anything in like the debug log help with this too? Like
I
if you
tried.
set no.
I set a trace on her and had her like go in and try to do the edit, and I didn't see anything in the debug log that jumped out at me. I could have missed something, but I couldn't actually even see her try to do the edit, which was, I thought, a little weird actually, but
We just had the same problem on Opportunity, and it wound up being rights to the price book.
oh,
So I don't know that that's your problem, but yeah, it was only happening in our sandbox. Somebody went in there and deactivated it. Yep.
Basically check the periphery around all of this.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's something out there, but I like the idea of the roll up because I do think payments get rolled up to a bunch of different places, and it's probably one of those because it says insufficient rights on object ID, but then didn't give me any more information. So I'm like, I don't know which object, but
If you don't find a roll up, I would just check price book entries.
yeah, we'll do.
And one thing I always do with those weird kind of errors is I will find myself swearing at it and that'll make it work. So
Okay,
have that as like a back pocket option.
all right, yeah, I'll leave that for later today if I don't get anywhere.
Sarah, do you use orders? Sorry, I was like kind of half
Oh.
paying attention.
We do, not for this type of opportunity, not this record type, but we do use orders, which is
Because
why
what
price
I've
book.
seen sometimes if the price books don't match, I've seen
Mhm.
a funky error
Yeah.
too.
Yeah. This opportunity doesn't have an order associated with it, but that doesn't mean that there isn't something weird there because we all know price books.
Good
Yeah.
times.
All right. Thanks for the leads.
All right, that's a good start. See, we had enough time, Sarah. So does anyone else have any like last like parting words? Because we are at 1:56 and I know I have another call at the top of the hour. So anything else? You guys are amazing.
All I'm going to say is, these are forever crazy times because 2020 is 2020. And then especially this week, whether, you voted for or against or whatever, things are going to get crazy. Please just love each other. We got to take care of each other. It's the only way we're going to survive. So those are my parting words.
All right. Well, I think
Thank
thank
you.
Thanks, everybody.
Have a good weekend.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
See you later.
Bye, guys.
Stay safe.
Au revoir.